Peace to the saints. It's the one and only, the big homie. Your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber. Fax Kellerman. Stephen A. Pimp. The bald head lover. Devon. Marquettdavon. The saint and the sinner. And today we're talking about Black female stereotypes. Are they true or are they not true? We have balancing codes today. I'm going to yield the floor so that she might introduce herself, and then we're getting into this conversation.
What's up, man? I'm happy to be here. And really, the best way I could describe myself is a pro family advocate, anti feminist. That's the best way I can describe myself.
Well, I tell you that's a really good start to be pro-family and anti-feminist. That's a beautiful thing. Shout out to you. Now, real quick, a little bit, and I know we're not going to be talking about your own experience, particularly during this stream. We're going to be talking about Black women and the stereotypes about them. Are they true? Are they false? We're going to hear from the audience. They're going to send in their super chats about their experiences, their observations, their best guesses on these things. But for you, I would say for a woman of any ethnicity today to be anti-feminist and pro-family, strangely, is a unique thing. How'd you arrive at that?
I think it is common sense. And we always say common sense isn't common. And I believe that to be true. I have a high level of emotional intelligence, but that's because I worked on it. And, life experiences. I think for myself, I'm not with groupthink. I'm not television programmed. I'm not on social media just following the crowd. I think for myself. So
got you. Do you know the origins of that, or you think that's just like an IQ thing?
Of what?
The origins of you having common sense, whereas most folks don't.
All I could really say is just, I think I was definitely raised by a mother who also has a lot of common sense. So maybe it just runs in the family.
Now, okay, I see somebody said turbo fine. There you go.
I'll take
it. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look, I got so much to say on this topic. You heard me. I got so much to say.
That's going to be a good show because I got a lot to say. Listen, when I go live on like TikTok, the women attack me like crazy. I'm telling you right now.
Black women or just women in general?
Women in general, for the most part. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Especially the younger generation, like that. Because they're all with the sexual liberation movement. And I'm like, you gotta have some. Anyway, let me let you.
Right. No, I feel you. They got miles on themselves. Yeah. They've been raised by their public schools, not by their parents. Shout to Fit John comes in, writes Peace of the Saints. Now, number one, I always think about, because we're talking about family here, right? Family starts with a romantic relationship, ideally, then it progresses, through courtship and dating to formalizing the relationship, the title of boyfriend, girlfriend. Then you might go into fiance, then marriage, and then procreate, ideally in that order. What I've noticed with Black women, because I've been accused a couple times by some sisters, strangers, mostly strangers, sisters I don't know. I remember one time, I kid you not, I was walking down the street in Baltimore with one of my colleagues, a white girl. She was bad. But anyways, I'm walking down the street with my colleague, and a group of ratchet Black chicks, hair-hatted hooligans, long eyelashes. They drive up in a beat-up Toyota. They slow down right by us, and they're like, sell out, and then they skirt off. And I was like, But the weird thing to me is, with Black women being my preference, and I approach way more Black women than any other ethnicity, you find that, ain't that a bit? Everybody I know called me today. Hold on. I approach way more Black women, but the behavior of the Black, shall we say African American female, when you approach them, is just completely out of line. Like you're gonna never get disrespected so unnecessarily without any reason or rhyme than approaching a Black woman. And it doesn't matter if she's attractive, fat, single mother, she looked like she on EBT. It don't matter. She just gonna be disrespectful. I'm gonna go ahead and say 60% of the time. Have you heard of this?
You know what? I think you're being gracious because I was gonna say more like 75% of the time.
Tell me
And
more.
I'm going off of what I've seen, what I've heard. Like I speak to a lot of men and they have the same experience. And I'm like, ooh. And I've seen it. And even like sister to sister, like when I see other sisters, I smile and I do
Mm.
not get it back for the most part.
Oh, wow. It's like that.
So, unfortunately.
And it's weird to me, and I don't want to make a bashing session because we do want to talk about some solutions, and certainly there are solutions, but it's almost as though they have evil within them. Like
Mm,
and I'm just talking like, goodness, where does this come from? And it's funny too because even the ones say, according to your estimates, say the 25% of women who are reasonable and they go ahead and say, okay, yeah, cool. You seem like a good guy. I'm going to go ahead and throw you this contact information. And then you go through the follow up. You find higher levels of breakdown in that follow up period with African American women. And I partly feel as though it's due to self sabotage, which is like they don't really feel good about themselves and that they deserve good things. And so they kind of fumble the bag.
mm. Absolutely. I think partly what you're saying is accurate, and then it's also a learned behavior because they're raised by a lot of single mothers who taught them to have this just I don't even know what to call it. It's kind of sad though because a lot of the mothers, single moms, they may be bitter, they may be unhappy, and they're teaching their children that same mindset. Unfortunately,
I agree with you there. Shout out to Maurice. He writes, let's see if the pretty face comes with a sharp mind.
let's see.
They need to see what it do. I feel you because I remember, oftentimes we'll see at the beginning of a stream, people are like, ooh, and then by the end of the stream, they're like, oh, hell nah.
Yeah.
Now, my first you had mentioned learned behavior from the single mothers, which obviously we sometimes fail to address the failing of the black male in as much as he's not a part of the equation, right? So he tends to be invisible to criticism.
Mm.
But if there were a situation wherein you have the black male and the black female together, we can probably agree that inevitably it would yield a better black child, be that child male or female, right?
I agree, definitely.
So that's step one. Now, here, let me give you a couple. I'm gonna give you a number of quotes from some white women. You heard me. 'Cause I've always been entertained at the things white women will tell me.
Okay.
Number one, I had one white woman whom I guess I'm a namer because she has the most common white girl name. You ain't gonna be able to find her. White girl I know named Sarah. Remember one time we are talking and black women came up and she says, don't they look like dudes? I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? She's like, they're so masculine. She was like, some of them actually look like dudes. She's like, like Serena Williams and
Mm.
she's like Venus and Serena Williams. She's like, they look like dudes. And she's like, and then the ones that don't look like dudes act like dudes. She's like, they're so masculine. I was like, God damn. I was like, you foul for that. What's your take on that piece that the African American woman is just exceedingly masculine?
That's oh man, you put me on the spot right now. Cause listen, I love my sisters. I do, but I think
Uh-huh.
we have to be honest about what we can work on. Right? We have to be real about it. And I think a lot of times because of the past, is so much why. Well, we could get into the why, but to answer your question, a lot of African American women, they are more in their masculine energy. A lot of times, and it's true. And again, I think they learned it from their single moms because the mom had to be the mom and the dad, so they took on a lot of that masculine energy, and then they taught that to their children. And that's why it's hard for the girls to get out of it because they were raised in it, they were conditioning it from childhood, and it's like it's hard. It's a hard programming to break, right? So like even me, like I had to
Can
say,
it be broken? No, like that's what I'm trying to figure out. Can it be
no,
broken?
I think anything could be broken. That's like saying could someone stop being an alcoholic? That's like saying can someone stop smoking cigarettes? I mean, it's really you have to have the willpower to want to. You have to have
Okay.
the why, and the reason has to be greater than the addiction.
Mm, look at that. I got some game for y'all. Her link is in the description, both the IG and the YouTube, so you can check out the YouTube for some information. and shoot that shot on the IG. You heard me? You heard me just creep in on the IG like, oh, hey, I saw your YouTube video. I wanted to have a meaningful discussion. Okay, so that does make sense. Now, frankly, if I could avoid having to build a bitch, I would, I usually avoid that. You heard me? I want to find one that's already ready to go.
Yeah.
My theory on why African American, I'm gonna share my theory and then I'm gonna share another white girl theory. I got a lot of white girl theories. I got to represent them because they scared to talk directly to black women because they know they're gonna get you heard me? So I got to represent the white women right now. So go ahead.
Jamie is back. He said BW can't decide if they're powerful or oppressed.
That's deep. Black women can't decide if they're powerful or oppressed. That's deep. Whoa. I might have to give me a tattoo. That was insightful. That was so real. I'm gonna come back to my piece. Remember that I wanted to give I want to represent a white girl named Miriam, what she said about black women. We got to dig into what the gentleman said. What are your thoughts on that one? White women can't figure out if they're powerful. I'm a strong black woman. I'm a strong black woman. Be fat as hell. I'm a strong black woman. Arm be jiggling while they saying it. I'm strong. You ain't talking about physically strong because you got a stretch mark that go from here all the way down. Your stretch mark taller than me. But you strong. So we're not talking about physical strength. I'm assuming they're talking about mental strength. I don't know, because all I recall from my childhood is like, I'm working 3 jobs just to take care of y'all kids. Sit your asses down. Sit your asses down and shut up. I mean, all I recall is like tremendous amounts of stress and like not reacting well to it. So
facts. Man. Oof. He's laughing.
And they be whooping their kids in public, just wilding. Don't make me come up to this school again. You be over there like, damn, I wish you wouldn't have showed up to this motherfucking them flip-flops and them hair curlers. I mean, goddamn, I thought I had to take off work to come up here. Your ass didn't come from work. You got curlers in your hair right now. What you talking about? But anyways, are they are they powerful or are they oppressed?
So that's funny because I say all the time on my channel, perception is reality, right? So I talk a lot about the victim mindset and how a lot of people in our culture, men and women alike, they have that victim mentality. They have that victim mindset. Everybody's oppressing me. Everyone. Like, you can't do anything for yourself. Like, you didn't make any of your life decisions and choices yourself. Because I'm of color too. Like, I don't think like you. I'm not a victim. So I think it's a choice. You could choose to believe that you're oppressed and can't do anything, and you could choose to believe that you're powerful like a man. I mean, either way, it's not serving you. So.
I got you. Okay, fair enough. And I think that's a good point. And even with this victim mindset, it's unfortunately bleeding across all of the ethnic and racial categories. There used to be a time that certain folks in categories that are not worth mentioning, they were doing all right, but it seems as though everyone's pretty much being drugged down with the modern culture of I'm a me monster, focus on me. I'll do anything to entertain others so that I can get the psychological compensation of a like, or in some cases, literally make $1, no matter how much I have to expose to the public, which should be private. So we're in an increasingly dark culture. So I agree with you there. One thing I did, are you caught up? Okay. One thing I did want to share, that I hear funny things from white women, and it's always, sometimes it's insightful, and other times I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. Or I didn't think of that. One thing I heard a white woman say, because I'm not going to lie, every now and then I say some racist things. And by every now and then, I mean, like probably every day. I say some racist things pretty much about any racial category. Indiscriminate. I'm indiscriminate when I'm discriminating. And so I think I probably said some crazy stuff about white girls or white people, who knows? And then this white girl says to me, she says, yeah, but Black girls are promiscuous. That's why they're all single mothers, because they just don't care. She's like, they just don't care. They gonna give it to anybody, and then Pookie gonna run off. That's why they're single mothers. And my first instinct was like, hold on, that doesn't add up. Because my whole life, we've always had this narrative as African American men that white girls are easy. We've always had
Hmm.
this narrative. White girls are easy. They'll do whatever. Becky got the sloppy toppy Herbie. We always had that narrative. Oh, her throat is deep. Her nickname is Giraffe. We always thought that the white girls were off of that. And then we would sometimes run to them because the black girls weren't trying to give it up like they should have been. But what I've realized through really thinking about it is that the type of white girl that particularly likes black guys is a piece of trash, generally speaking. So that category of white girl is easy and trashy, generally speaking. Now, when she said that black women are promiscuous, and I certainly know some black girls that are promiscuous, and one of them, the brain is phenomenal. But anyways, I don't know that black girls are any more promiscuous than white girls, but I do theorize that because the black female is hard to get along with, being that they're disagreeable and masculine, they have the same essential sexual practices as the white female, but the behaviors of the black girl pushes away the sexual partner that impregnated them. So there's a bit of a higher instance of the abandonment. What do you, does that square? What are you thinking?
I agree completely. I don't even need to add anything. I agree 100%.
Okay. But the white girl did open up an opportunity for us to learn, because I never heard that articulated. And it was funny too. I'm often entertained when I get to hear the white woman's perspective on the black woman. One, because I feel like white girls don't really speak up on black girls in public. You hear me? They got more common sense than that. These one of these fat black girls being whooped your tail, and I ain't jumping in. You hear me? But I've heard them say a lot of things. I'm gonna get to a couple other things. Shout out to Rob. He writes, "Peace of Saints tuition. Appreciate the consistent game, Marquett. I love me some black women. Me too. The feminine ones. It's just a couple. But what's up with sisters not hitting the gym ski? Obesity rates crazy, and I don't see a lot of black women in gyms. Bro, you ain't never lied. And we also need to stop lying about the term thick. When we say thick, we're not talking about your stomach. Come on now, shorty. Eating them hog mogs. You know what hog mogs are?
Yeah.
Okay. You be eating them neck bones, hog mogs, and chitlins. That's why they fat like that. It's crazy out here. But I also blame the guys for putting up with it, because I need that stomach to ass ratio to be appropriate. But I also don't think that black males have been masculine enough. I think the
Mm.
white woman was thoroughly dominated by the white man, and which is why I respect the fact that they have starved themselves. You hear me? I respect the dedication. We didn't let these broads slide, and they over here out here at Sizzler, eating up them damn platters. You know how you get the sampler platter? You know what I'm saying? You sample all the different meats. These chicks eating the damn sampler platter as an appetizer. Then they got the nerve to order a main course. What do you think is the reason for these girls eating so damn much? I heard one of these fat black rascals claim that racism was making them fat.
Oh God, I saw that
Swear
one
to God.
too. I was like, she's embarrassing. I can't.
Oh, you heard that one too?
I did. It was so disappointing. And then the women were cheering her on. I'm like, this is so dumb. But I will say this. I think there are a lot of traumatized black women from childhood, from not having a father. Maybe they were touched, whatever, right?
Right.
And
Right.
what happens is they self-medicate, right? So what they do, they're either over drinking, over
Mm,
smoking, overeating.
mm,
It's one of those or all of those, being overly promiscuous. It's one of those or all of them or some of them, right?
mm,
So I try to promote on my channel. Let's go to the gym. I go to the gym 5 days a week at least. Let's go to the gym. And so
mm.
many
What
women,
you be wearing in there?
I wear big t-shirts. Like I'm not trying to be
Where
seen.
you wearing some small shorts though?
Sometimes it depends on the day.
I'm just curious. Okay, DM me your gym address. I'm gonna meet you there
I
when you get a workout in.
so
Go ahead.
this is the crazy thing. Like I tell my sisters, like it's that mind body connection. When you work out, the endorphins you get, it makes you so happy. Like y'all need to get in the gym. It would change your whole mood. They're on
Mm.
antidepressants. I'm like, no, go to the gym. You don't feel
Oh,
real
black
good
chicks
about
are on antidepressants now?
it. I think
Oh wow.
women in
That
general, American
Yeah,
women.
y'all do be doped up. I
Yeah.
agree.
So
Women are on a lot of drugs. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So it's a big deal. Like over 70% of Americans are now on some type of medication, whether that's antidepressants or something else. But
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean, I tell women all the time, you have to work out, not just for your physical health, but your mental too. Like it's necessary. For me, it's a spiritual practice. So that's why I'm always trying to promote it all the time. And yeah, a lot of them are eating their pain. They're eating their trauma. And
They
it's
eating
sad.
everything.
Yeah, it's sad to see
I'm gonna just give one rule, one piece of assassin law just to help everybody out. If you are a female, let you never take on a bigger portion than an adult male.
though.
That's present. So if he ain't hungry that day, then you ain't hungry that day. All right. Do not ever exceed his portion. Let's just make that rule of thumb. Hopefully we can get to the level that the old white man used to be at, back in the day, that got these chicks with these eating disorders. I mean, they was keeping them in line. You heard me? That was a beautiful thing. Not the eating disorders, but just, that we had some standards.
Yeah.
Now, carrying on. So if we wanted to do the low hanging fruit, I guess the real healing of the black female would come from a proper black family, which would the root of that would have to be a black man who is doing his part.
Hmm.
Now, the challenge is that you still, if you have a black man who's completely sane and ready to do the right thing, you still need a mate for him. Do you
Yeah.
think that there are more black males or like, okay, here's a question. In terms of sanity, with they stuff together, ready to do the right thing in a relationship, is it equal between the black male and female, or are there more black males with their stuff together, or are there more black females with their stuff together?
Ooh. Okay. The best way I could answer this question in an honest way, physically fit, there are a lot more black males that are available and willing and ready. But mentally though, oh, that one's
Yeah.
kind of iffy because a lot of our brothers, they've been traumatized too. They got daddy wounds too. They have mommy wounds too. And they didn't heal too. And they don't believe in therapy too. And they don't
Mm.
believe in being emotionally connected. So sometimes they have to heal that as well. So I think the majority of us just in general need to work on ourselves, whether it's mentally or physically, before we try to pair with somebody else. That's the best way I can answer it, man.
Got you. Now tell me this.
Mhm.
Not asking about your past experience. We just asking about your decision making today, right?
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
decision making today. If you met a black man who has his stuff together, and
Mm.
by that I mean that he's even tempered and mild in terms of his emotional displays, would never lay a negative hand on a female, is a strong financial provider, is intelligent, and would provide for a good family and good leadership. And do you know where I'm going with this?
Not yet.
Okay, good. 'Cause I like surprises. And so he says, "Hey, I want to deal with you in a marriage. Would you be open to that?"
Yeah,
Okay. And then he says, "That's fantastic. And then I would also like to have two wives. So you could either help me find the second wife, or when I present her to you, you can make your approval. Is that something you would be accepting of?"
absolutely. And you know what? I wish that our men actually came that way because they're already polygamous. They already live in the polygamous
I,
lifestyle. They already have kids all over the town. They already have
I,
women all over the town they're sleeping with. So whether you title you're living the lifestyle. So I don't understand why you can't just be honest about it. What I respect is character and integrity in a man
Mm,
over anything else. Do not lie to me. We good. You know
mm,
what I mean? But
right.
all this other stuff, like again, I'm not mentally programmed to say you can never have sex with anybody else again. Like I don't even know where that came from. But you know what? For me, I'm about building generational family wealth. I'm about you
Mhm.
raising your kids and being there. That's what matters to me. All that other stuff is extra.
I hear you. I can sign off on most of that. I ain't even tripping on generational family wealth. You heard me. If I gave you some game, if you had the privilege to be in my household, by the time you're an adult, shit, I ain't giving you no money. You heard me? I didn't give you all the game. If you can't make no money with that, you need to be broke. You deserve to be straight broke. I'm dying with my money in the casket. You heard me? I'm buying unnecessary stuff on my deathbed. Put it in my casket. I'm throwing my money into the ocean. I'm giving Nathan. Now, what else did I want to ask you? Because you had sparked something in me. Go ahead.
Jamie is back. He says, without white women is a common enemy. Dark BW, turn on the light. I'm just reading it.
He said, without black women as
He
a
said,
common.
without WW, white women.
Oh, white
Is
women.
a common enemy. Dark BW, turn on the light.
Black women turn on the light. Oh, turn on the light skinned women is my guess. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even want to get into the colorism, to be honest with you, because the colorism is a whole nother weird topic, to be honest.
It really
I was
is.
just going to avoid that one. You did.
It's a
Shout out
big
to Matthew, came in with the support. And colorism is funny too, because in my observation of human beings, and I'm about to make an infographic of this because I like to make infographics because nobody wants to read. So everything has to be a meme or an infographic. But the thing that I found comical is that you have all of these different categories of human beings. Let's just take it anthropologically, 3 racial categories, right? You have the Negroid, the Caucasoid, the Mongoloid, which essentially is white, or excuse me, black, white, and Asian. And everything else is like in between one of those things, right? Like Indians are not a pure human type. They're in between the black and the white, or the black and the Asian, or a mix of the 3. That being said, the white woman, you find like the pure white woman, maybe has blonde hair, fair eyes, light skin. She wants to tan her skin. Okay, cool. And she wants the bigger lips. So she wants to, assume some of the natural traits of the Negroid type. Then you find the Negroid type, she wants to straighten her hair and lighten her skin. Right. And so it's like no one is happy. Everyone is trying to pursue something which they are not. And that's the comedy of humankind. But never do you find this dark comedy more present than within the female. And that brings me to my next point about the African American female, is that all women are tremendously fake and phony. It's disgusting, frankly, unless they're Amish. Shout out, you dig. But the black woman, I would charge, is the fakest of them all. Talk to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not even gonna say African American. I actually mean black this time. I just mean wherever you find them, they the fakest of them all. You can find the highest number of fake parts on the black woman.
Well, if we're going to be accurate,
go ahead.
If we're talking about like hair and nails, yes, but plastic surgery, white women are still leading in the numbers with plastic surgery.
That's because they bred strong. You heard me.
If we're going to be fair with the actual numbers, it's actually still white women. But black women, there's a lot of lack of self-love going on. So a lot of times they're trying to look like someone they deem to be more worthy, or that society has deemed to be more worthy. And when you lack self-love and self-worth, then you'll do anything external to get it because you don't feel it internally. I mean, and it's unfortunate, but that's what it is. And you could see a lot of times it's also programmed into young girls, because I was just watching a little YouTube video, and the woman like put a wig on like her 5-year-old daughter, and I'm like, do you know you're instilling self-hate into her, like telling her that her natural hair isn't beautiful, like you're instilling that into her. And it bothered me so much because it's a programming, it's a conditioning from your own people. And even me, like I have family members in my family, and they treat maybe in some. Let me just be clear, some.
Sure.
I don't know if I'm watching this. They may treat the lighter skinned members differently than they do the darker skinned ones, and it is unfortunate. It's a conditioning and program. It's passed down, and it's self hate. So you have to really develop self love and know who you are. Knowledge of self. I say that all the time. Knowledge of self. Like nobody could tell me. Yeah, nobody could tell me that I'm not beautiful or I'm not this or that. I have so much self love and self worth. I don't care what you say. And
you don't care.
Sister, so
she over here drinking a glass of pickle juice, y'all. You know she don't care. She drinking a glass of pickle juice.
It's green tea.
She don't care about nothing and nobody. I'm gonna drink this pickle juice
so much that I'm drinking my antioxidants
in front of all these people.
Okay, Ivan sent a PayPal. He said, not related to the topic. I purchased the Janet joint from thesassin.com earlier. I was looking for the Smile If I Turn You On t-shirts. I could have sworn I saw your post something about them a while back. Did they sell out?
You know what? I went back and forth so many times on if I was going to produce that one. How would you feel like, say you walking down the street and wherever you stay at, right? and
Mm-hmm.
then you see the big homie, right? You don't know me from Adam, and I'm wearing a tank top that says "Smile if." What do you say? Smile if you like me, or smile if I turn you on.
It's smile if I turn you on.
Yeah, and it just said in large letters, "Smile if I turn you on," and then made eye contact with you, and I just pointed. What would you be thinking?
It's
Wait,
funny.
why are you smiling already? I mean,
It's just
damn, you didn't
funny.
make it's funny.
To not smile, like what you. It's funny.
Okay, so that might get me in the game a little bit.
I mean, you don't even need the shirt.
You damn right, but I'm just saying though, if I'm trying to finesse, if I'm trying to help people finesse, is that gonna help them finesse into the game a little bit?
Yeah, but I think my idea is better because, like, I
What's
had the
your
idea
idea?
of
What's your
like
idea?
wearing a shirt that's like, "Yes, I'm single," and then you could have like, something that smile something.
A shirt for you that say yes, I'm single, or a shirt for the man?
Both.
Ooh, see, that kind of turned me off for myself. Like, actually, that turned me off for both. I'm gonna tell you why. Number one, I feel like generally speaking, if a man is, well educated, well paid, and living well, I he ain't single. I don't care what he said. He ain't single. You heard me? He lying.
You just
He
lying.
lying. Yeah, he lying. He ain't single. I mean, I shit, he ain't single. And if a female is actually single and she look good, I need to know why. You heard me? I'm gonna need the whole facts. I'm gonna need all the background. I'm gonna need a fingerprint. I'm gonna need a criminal everything.
I wanted to say this to you because you've said this about women over 25, as I am over 25, right? And if they're
Uh-huh.
single, what if they were in a very long term relationship, right? And it did not work out for whatever reason? That man could have died. That man could have ran away and never to be seen again. And she
He
could have
just
been,
ran away. He
or
just dipped.
he could have just been toxic and abusive or anything. And you could have been with
Uh-huh.
that man for a decade. But now you're not with him anymore. And now you're no longer 25. So that means that you're crazy. Like, you got to rethink this. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna get right to that. Hit me.
Mamba's office said, ask the man having second wife doesn't mean she can have other partners. I've tried honesty before. The knee jerk response is always, what about me? Society does not approve of this arrangement.
Right. I feel like I thought we were vibing on that. Like, you know better than that, right?
Yeah, like, no. Doesn't
He's
even back up.
basically saying if I have two wives, you still have one
Mhm.
husband.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We this is spiritual right here. We already know.
Yeah.
I ain't even have to ask that. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, naturally, and for me, I'm a naturalist. I don't really think that women naturally desire to be with more than one man. And I'm talking about if she's a natural woman and living in her
Right.
natural essence. We don't even desire that.
Go ahead. Praise the Lord.
So
Um, baller alert.
Don said, is balancing codes more of a saint or a sinner?
that's
Who made
funny.
that face?
That's so funny. I guess you're gonna see. I guess.
She said, keep your eyes open. Okay, now with regards to your question, since you want to talk about you without talking about you, this is what we gonna do. No-
Hey.
yeah, we go. You want to talk about you without talking about you. I got you. So number one, when I say certain things, unless I said it's law, then it's a general guide.
Good
It's
to know.
a something that's going to help you save time.
Mhm.
So, for example, if you meet two women and they're both attractive and seem to have their ducks in a row, and one is 22 and the other one is 32, you'd probably be wiser to go for the 22-year-old. There's less miles on it. There's more likelihood that you're dealing with some fresh water. This does not mean that every single woman over age 25 is not worth having. It means that it's highly likely that women over age 25 are not worth having. And with regards to the examples that you gave, what if the guy just ran off? Well, then that means she chose the wrong guy,
Mhm.
one who evades responsibility, and that's a reflection on her. She says, what if the guy died? Well, then that is certainly excusable. If she's a widower, that makes perfect sense. And you can make an accommodation for that. And you'd hope that she's a widower with no kids. And then the third piece, what if the fellow was abusive? You see, that is something that is going to indicate that she either has some level of blindness, meaning being blind to that man, or that she is somehow culpable in the situation. Maybe she drove this behavior in him. Not that he wouldn't be a wife beater if it wasn't for her, but birds of a feather flock together, which is to say you have to have the victim and the victimizer. That's an agreement there. Because if you don't have both, it can't happen, right? You have some women where the first time he raised his hand, she like, look, I'm out the door. We ain't about to have this going down. I'm out. First time you didn't raise your hand to me, I'm about the door. Then you have other women who deal with that for 5-10 years. And that does say something about her. Not that she's a bad person, but that there are a lot of things broken there, and you don't want to live your life as a repairman. And so what I'm saying is that generally speaking, that fresh water is going to, quench that thirst a lot better. And I would never throw away a human being. If you can show up and add value, and you can display that on a consistent basis over time, then that's a good thing. But it's just that I'm going to view you with more suspicion, and I'm going to expect that you come in the door really looking to prove something. It's the difference between somebody who was recruited to the basketball team and then another person who walked up and said, hey, I got game. You got like, if you had game, why they didn't recruit you?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me.
That makes sense. No, that definitely makes sense. And yeah, and I do just want to add a little caveat, because sometimes a man, who he is in the beginning, and women too, it may change over years, over time. So
Yeah.
somebody that's abusive in year 3 may not have been abusive at all in the beginning. Like it was a gradual thing. So I just want to add that caveat. But go ahead.
No, that's a fact. And I think that sexual abuse and physical abuse are grossly underreported. When I say abuse, I'm talking about of children. And then
Mm-hmm.
physical abuse of in general, I think is underreported, be it perpetrated by the male or the female. And I think in some cases, like that's your own personal business. You hear me? Whatever going on in your house, your personal business. But there are certain levels to where the authorities need to be involved. One thing I will say is that generally both parties are pretending at the beginning. The guy is
Yeah.
pretending so he could get the draws. The woman is pretending if she's very interested in the man. And then eventually the truth comes out. So I generally recommend the following for people. This is
And
getting closer to law, but it's still a guideline. When you say you want to eventually get married, not legally, but you want to get married and have children, I say that you meet the girl, then you're going to be in the boyfriend girlfriend stage or fiance, what have you. You should wait at least 3 years before marrying. So from the time you meet her, there should be at least 3 years before you marry. After you marry, you should wait at least 1 year before having your first child. Then you should wait at least another 1 year before having your second child. After that, do what you want to do. After that, if you want to just pop them out every year, do that. And I'll tell you why. Because it takes about 3 years for reasonable people to become unreasonable, for me to figure out all those deep recesses of your personality. Once the woman gets the title of marriage, her thinking and that security feeling might affect her behavior. Then the child being introduced into the relationship is going to alter the dynamic, and you guys might fall out of love with that. So if you've waited a year till after that first kid is around, and you say, okay, well, we're growing together as a good family now, okay, go ahead, just keep popping them out. What do you think of that allocation?
I think to each his own.
She like, I ain't got time like that, nigga.
I mean, I don't believe in rushing, but I don't really think a set 3 years is also always necessary either. So I mean, it just depends, and you can tell a lot about a person how they have lived their life the last 10 years before you even met them, right? Like that plays a large role as well. And I do have a theory here, because I think
Oh,
it's
tell
so
me.
I think it's so funny that you're talking about like go for the younger women. But in my experience, right, because of the younger generation, they're so into this sexual liberation movement. I've coached a lot of young girls, and I found that the women in their 30s actually have lower body counts than the women in their 20s.
That's
They're like in
crazy.
the 50s and 60s, and so it's so funny that you say that, because in my experience, it's actually the reverse. But hey, that's just what I've seen. But
I wouldn't be surprised about that.
mhm. Yeah, because it's a different time, and it's definitely more accepted now. And even like in okay, my friend and I, we were speaking about this the other day. Her daughter is now just going to high school, and she was talking about when her and I were in high school, and like if a girl was a whore, she had to wear
Mhm.
the scarlet letter. You know, everybody made fun of her. They talked about her, and now that her daughter's just going to high school, everybody's like, oh, that's just normal. And if you say anything about a woman or a girl who's promiscuous, then you're slut shaming. So it's
Mm.
literally the reverse now.
They need to make
So
it crack.
now it's very acceptable. So the mindset is different, the mentality is different. It's reverse, and it's really sick actually to see, in my opinion. But again, I don't think it takes 3 years, but I don't think you should rush either. I think you got to find what
Mhm.
works for you.
Well, I see you've been taking your time. We're gonna have to speed you up now. It's Vic writes, before it's all said and done, can we address weave and
Yes, we
hair hats?
again,
I'm curious how you love a fake image of self. Peace
again.
to the saints.
I don't think they love it. I think they're covering their natural beauty, and it's really a shame, and it's sad. Like I really despise like the lace wigs. You know, I throw some braids in, but I mean,
Yeah, my
I
little
love
girl,
my
I
natural
despise
hair.
it too. Yeah.
I love my natural hair. Like even when I first started my YouTube channel, it started just being about natural hair because
Oh
it wasn't
wow.
that many people talking about it. I changed it
Mhm.
now, but initially all my videos were showing young girls how to do their natural hair. So it's so funny that they were talking about this. I wish we could burn all the lace wigs and like
We need to just start whooping girls. Just like we just need, we need to just have stonings when we see these damn lace fronts. And I used to stay in Baltimore, and there's some of
yeah,
the worst wigs you'd ever seen in your life in Baltimore. You can see the glue and everything. It's
yeah,
traumatizing, but I don't know why box braids turn me on. I don't know if it just remind me of my childhood or what, but box braids, whoo
but
that'll get me in my zone for some reason. But them wigs, I can't do it. And a part of it, and I've talked to white women about this because I always wonder what it feels like to be emulated at that level, right? It's like, what does it feel like to be a white woman with straight hair and then look at this black girl who is trying her best to look like you? I'm like, and I'm like, that's a fascinating position. And with men, there's really no analog today. Black guys are not permed out trying to look like, Richard Gere or, whoever, like Justin Bieber, right? So I feel like black women not only display tremendous levels of self-hate, but then they also pedestalize the white woman, which is ironic because they also claim that the black male, particularly the successful black male, pedestalizes the white woman.
mm-hmm. It's true. It's true. I think there's a lot of sisters that are trying to look more like they're like who they're not, and there's a lot of white women trying to look a lot like who they're not. It really starts with again self love. You gotta love yourself. Love what you have. I love my lips. I love my nose. I love my hair. Like I love my skin. I'm not trying to be anybody but me. So it just starts with the self love. Really.
Praise the Lord. Um, do you live in a city and state where your family is from, or are you like
No,
kind
I
of
don't.
branched out?
I couldn't wait to move.
Oh, you can't wait to move.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to get away from the I okay, so for the most part I lived in New York, but I also
Mhm.
lived in DC, I lived in Georgia, and now I live in Florida.
Okay. You've been making some moves then. Goodness. P. Crawley writes, this is a banger, Saint. Are the majority of young black women doomed? If not, what is their saving grace besides a good upbringing? Peace of saints. I truly believe their saving grace is number one, this ism. And then number two, it is shame. We have to bring back shame and enforce our culture. The truth is that we have to do that even at the risk of being canceled, being fired, being shunned. We have to do it. And when you look at cultures where men still enforce their culture, whether you're looking at Iran or you're looking at Afghanistan or Saudi or Somalia or Sudan, or Ethiopia, these are places where they don't care how liberal white folks feel. They're about to do what they're going to do. Really quickly, when I was in oh, was that Zanzibar? Yeah, I was in Zanzibar. Check this out. I'm in Zanzibar. which is an island off the coast of Tanzania, and they have a house of Freddie Mercury, which it was a singer in was that in Queen? Queen was at the
Yeah.
rock group. Yeah, he's a lead singer in Queen. He's now dead, and so his house is like a museum, right? And I'm walking by. I never heard of Freddie Mercury. I never heard of Queen. I'm a hip hop kid. I'm just looking at it. I look at it, and a dude walks over to me. He was just sitting down across the street from me. He walks over to me. He says, "This guy is gay. Here, we don't like the gay." And then just walked off like he was just there to give me a public service announcement. And I had to respect it because he was letting it be known, like around here, like in America, do what y'all do, but around here, we ain't with it. And we gonna let everybody know we don't care what anybody says. And that's how men must enforce their culture, which is to say, when you see one of them broads with them hair hats, you let her know, nah, that ain't cool. You see what one of them broads, they stomach hanging over their belt, you let them know, nah, shorty, cover that up. Number one, cover that up because it's disgusting looking. And number two, make it disappear at some point. I don't care what measures you got to go to. Go ahead.
I'm gonna add on to this because
Go ahead, add on.
I in part blame you guys a little bit because you guys are still having sex with them, and I think what
Beating it up, beating it up.
No, because I think because now it's telling them that it's acceptable. If you guys are like, y'all not gonna get none, they'll stop. What do sisters what do they covet? I mean, they love the brothers, they do. And if all of you said no and turn them down, they're gonna be like, all right, let's throw these wigs away. But the fact is, you guys are still having sex with them.
That's true. And unfortunately, that ain't about to change. Look, if it got some jelly, if it got some jelly and it's jiggling, nah, that's getting beat down, sis. I'm sorry, that's getting beat down. I ain't speaking for myself. I'm speaking for these savages out here in these comments.
It gives them like a false sense of security where they think, oh, I'm still desirable by men. They don't know the difference between desirable because he'll sleep with you and actually desirable in the sense of taking you seriously, having a family with you, committing to you, staying with you long term, not just having sex with you for 6 months. There is a big difference, and it's all convoluted. So
no, you're right. You're right. And that's why we have to shame and shun these fat hoes. I want that on my tombstone. Shame and shun these fat hoes. Because unfortunately, if the human being is programmed, particularly the male, programmed to dominate and to spread their seed, and we have seed produced the whole duration of our lifetime, the human male animal is kind of programmed to be on go time, and this has been consistent against all the throughout all the racial groups of man. I mean, even the Asians, people are like, oh man, they're timid, and I'm like, okay, they timid, but look at the population in India and China, they ain't that timid, they getting it done. But the point is that it's the shame and shun. And I think the shaming and shunning is very powerful for females, because when you observe the behavior of the human female, you see that the compliance level with trends and prevailing culture is exceptionally high. You can find a woman of every race wearing long eyelashes. You can find a woman of every race plucks her eyebrows. Find a woman of every race do these things so consistently. Conversely, with regards to men, you're not going to find a hairstyle that's going to cross all the racial categories. It just won't happen with men. You're not going to find a grooming method that's going to cross all the racial categories with men. And so when you shame and shun the women in a very consistent way, oh, they're going to start to behave. Now, I agree with you. We should be controlling, we can't just be laying pipe like a plumber. And it's going to be the saints who are going to be the ones I'm like, no, you too fat to ride this ride. You way too much for this ride. But most of us are not saintly. This is just the leadership class. You hear me? So we got to shame these fat hoes. Mamba's office writes, Saint, in the past, you said 3 things that are important for a female: loyalty, respect. He said, and what was the third one? He didn't set me up. This man said loyalty, respect, and what was the third one? What was the third one?
Compatibility.
Woo! That was pretty good. That was pretty damn good. Wow. Loyalty, respect, and compatibility. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Loyalty means that you loyal to me. I don't care what the police asked you. I don't care what they said. No, don't answer no questions. Why? Because I said so. Don't say a damn thing to them. I don't care if they said, is your name Tiffany? You act like you don't know. Don't say a damn thing. Loyalty.
Mhm.
I'm your government.
Mhm.
Respect. You're like, even when you mad at me, treat me with respect.
Yeah.
Even when I done displeased you, treat me with respect. Respect my name.
Mm.
And then compatibility. We have to be on the same accord. And I think that we've seen that here where when you have compatibility, there's less talk. We won't have to explain things like when the gentleman had wrote like, yeah, but is she aware that she's not going to be sleeping with other people? I didn't even have to ask you that because I felt we were compatible values wise.
Mhm.
What do you think about like that was my that's my formula for male love. Women, y'all got some whole other stuff, but for the man, you need in your woman, you need loyalty, respect, and compatibility. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that's the absolute foundation. Honestly, it goes without saying because yeah, that's like the bare minimum. The bare minimum. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Just side note, what do you like doing other than working out and giving out game? What's something you do?
I do life coaching, so I try to get my sisters in the right mental state because
Praise the
they need that
Lord.
guidance. They do.
Praise the
Um,
Lord.
I love rock climbing. I love going to the beach. I love any water sports, hiking, anything outdoors. I love being outdoors. So,
That's what's up. Can you send your clients to me after you done with them so I could just shame them after every session? Just send them to me and I could just yell at them and harass them like, you eat too much. Like just I can just kind of take them through it like a little 5 minute wind
yeah,
down.
I
Okay,
like
cool. I
that
appreciate
idea.
you. Pete Crawley writes, y'all remember when that fat black chick had more you know what's crazy about some people is they create narratives in their head. The level of just bestial behavior among the African American woman is sometimes concerning. I was at a resort in Las Vegas. There's a very long line. Most of the resorts in Las Vegas have VIP lines, right?
Yeah,
And they're usually empty or they don't put up a sign because they don't want people to like ask about it.
yeah.
So I was in one restaurant that I hadn't gone to before. It was like 3 a.m. So I walked to the front and I say, hey, is there a VIP line? And this fat black woman wearing a highlighter dress who's at the front of the line, she turns like, you need to get in line with everybody else. You ain't special. And in my head, I was like, damn, shorty, like I could have sworn I was talking to this person right here. I wasn't talking to you. I, my first thought was like, I should slap this shit out this bitch. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. My first thought was, I should slap the daylights out this bitch right here. But anyways, I turned back and Shorty kept talking to the point where I had to shun and shame her, like I said earlier, because what I realized is that when you allow this kind of behavior to go on unpunished, then they think it's okay. They think they can get away with it. And one thing I've noticed with humankind is that two things drive them: the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of fear, right?
Mm.
And so you got to put that fear into people. I'm a big believer. So immediately I was like, you fat bit, you shouldn't even be allowed to eat here. You didn't ate too much. I went in on her big ass. But I thought it was funny that every now and then in the comments you see somebody writing. It was generally a fat black woman. She write, why did you just walk up to this woman and start saying these things to her? And I'm just like, that never happens in real life. No one ever walks up to a bee's nest and just slaps it to see what the bees or the hornets are going to do. Like, no one approaches a fat black woman. We already know they're unruly and disagreeable and unpleasant, right? Like, no one looks at black women as like someone who's going to be like a good time. Like, we all look at them as like a potential, like a ticking time bomb. Or is that just me? We get into stereotypes right now. Is that just me?
No, I'm in the same boat. Like they react the same way to me, and I'm a woman. So, but I think at the end of the day, what really you're making me laugh. What really needs to happen? Okay, so what happens is these women they're not disciplined. They're not obviously. So they're gluttons. So the issue when you're not disciplined like that is you don't fear real life consequences.
Mm.
You don't. And it's just so unhealthy. It's like having a child. If you don't teach your child discipline, then what happens? Life will. And that's how they end
Mm.
up in jail. That's how they end up dead, whatever.
Right.
And this is what's happening. A lot of these women, they were not disciplined in childhood. And now they're grown adults with no discipline. And it's really sad to see. So I think there's something we should do
I'm
because
telling you.
they need discipline. They need
Yeah.
discipline. And that'll save their life. I mean, that's the best way I can say.
And you know, there's 2 points. So you had mentioned they get at you like that. I imagine that they really hate you too.
Oh my God. Yeah.
there's two pieces to it. One thing I did forget to mention, I want to let all the gentlemen know, and this is a true story. I forgot to mention this, but just a side note, like this is a fat, chocolatey woman that was doing this. So I know she fat and chocolatey, and you skinny and light skinned. Like you're her arch enemy, low key. Like, I know she hates you, boy. Them white teeth, I know she don't like you at all, just from looking at you. But moreover, the first thing I actually did say to this fat black woman, I almost forget because this wasn't on video. The first thing I said, "Is your man here? Like, go get him," because I was gonna beat this. I was gonna put hands on this boy so bad just so that like they had to go home and suffer that. Number one, so like by the time he got home, he was probably gonna put hands on her, like, "Oh, you didn't set me up for that." But it was unsurprising. I said, "Where's your man at? Go get your man." And she said, "I don't have one." She was just there with her girlfriend. And I think that was also very instructive in that, generally speaking, it's the female that's not spoken for that is displaying these behaviors, and she's single for a reason. And that's the unfortunate thing. But yeah, I imagine they absolutely hate you just to see you. They mad as hell. They mad as hell.
Yeah, it's sad. I have so many stories, but from
Oh yeah, give me
childhood
one.
to now, it's so many.
Give me an adulthood one, because I ain't gonna blame the children for being ignorant. Give me an adulthood one.
Okay, this is a true story. So I used to work for the Department of Justice. I was a government contractor, and so the documentation there is secret. There's a lot of stuff you just have to be very careful over the documentation. So this one African American sister who happened to be overweight, who didn't love me, okay. So I'm going to tell you what she did and what she said. First, we had a meeting one day and the supervisor wasn't there, but I still came in there my cheery, happy, smiley self, and she's just like just looking at me like just staring at me, and I'm just smiling like, "Hey, how's your day going?" She was like,
"Oh, don't do that."
She's like, "You don't have to be fake today. Like the boss isn't here. You ain't got to act like that." I'm like, "Act like what?" Like I'm genuinely happy. Like I'm being myself. Like I'm not. This is not a show that I'm putting on. I'm sorry that
That's
you're.
evil.
That's the way you are in your life, but I'm genuinely like this all the time. I'm not putting you on a show. So mind you, like a week later, when you print things out, your name is on whatever computer came from. Your name's on the documentation. So she printed out all of this secret documentation with my name on it from my computer when I went to the restroom.
Wow.
And then she put it all over the building. All over the building. And I was like, how? And then, they're like, this was printed from your computer and you can't have this information just laying out. She put it on the fridge in the kitchen. Like she just put it everywhere. And I'm like, what kind of sick person would do this?
Right.
And I was like, I already know.
That's evil.
Yeah. But usually I always lock my computer, but I guess she got me one day. She got me that one day.
She damn sure did. She was at dinner with her fat friend telling like, "I got this little red bone bitch." Little red bone bitch. She gonna learn today. Oh yeah. And shout out to Maurice. He writes, "Crabs in a bucket, I tell you. Misery loves company. This is why Quet says stay away from uglies and brokies." He ain't ever lied, and I'm a true believer in it, goddammit. I don't want to be around anybody that's broke or ugly. It's like it's a disease and it's evil. I'm like, if there's a God, why did he do that to you? Maybe the devil did that to you. I'm staying away.
Or people that complain all the time, like they're so negative. I can't.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm trying to stay focused on the solution, eyes on the prize, right? I'm trying to stay solution focused. Do you think that there's a portion of women now of Black women, since this is a topic, no disrespect to African American women, but since this is the topic, are there a portion of African American women that are only worth sleeping with? Like we shouldn't do nothing with them. We should only hit them and quit them and not get them pregnant. Just hit them, make sure you don't skeet in them, and then just go. Like, and they deserve to just live and die that way.
You could say that about any woman in any culture.
Mm-hmm. That there's a percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a higher percentage in the African American culture?
I really don't know. Okay. I mean, from my observation, no, I would never tell a man just hit it and quit. I would say just leave her alone, period.
Right. I would never tell them to hit it and quit it either. But the thing is, they come to me, they're like, look, Quet, she hella thick. And I'm like, all right, tell me more. And they're like, yeah, she hella thick, but she dumb as hell. She got bad credit.
Mhm.
She ain't seen a dentist in a little while. She broke, got a bad attitude, but I need it in my life. And the reason I say the saint and the sinner, I say, hey, a saint would just leave that girl alone because she
Right.
trash. She trash. He would just leave that alone. But you're 22 and I know what's on your mind. I know what's top of mind for you. So you're about to do the wrong thing. I'm going to just try to tell you how to do the wrong thing the right way so that you suffer as little as possible. Because the truth is, when you engage in evil, you're going to suffer. You cannot do something evil and not suffer. So like you slaying that fat girl, you shouldn't be doing that. Something bad is going to result from that. It's just something you're not going to get out of that scot free. It doesn't happen on planet Earth. You ain't got to wait till after you die to experience hell. So I tried to tell them how to do the wrong thing the right way if possible, which is to say, use protection, don't have any children on accident with this imbecile, don't maintain contact with her, don't take her to your real house. You're be like, keep her on limited information, don't do it if you work with her. Because the problem is not necessarily that African American males are doing things that white guys aren't doing, is that they're not doing it at the same level, right? I
Yep.
remember I've heard strange things like black men cheat so much. I'm like, nah, like the white guys I know, they get they cheat on, but these fools got a whole extra apartment to cheat in. Like they cheat game is so damn strong. You don't think they cheat. Like they go on a business trip in London and they got 4-5 hoes. Like it's just crazy. Like their cheating strategy is magnificent.
I agree.
Yeah,
And
indeed.
yeah,
Um,
you're
go
lowering
ahead.
yourself if you're like, why would you have sex with someone? You're lowering yourself. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. But if that's what you want to do, hey.
Hey, get like that. Shout out to Noir. He writes, great work, Saint. Flat out assaulting the algorithm. Keep the fire coming. Absolutely. And were there any gems that you're like, you know what, this is something that the people need to know on this topic or in general that you had wanted to share with folks? And by the way, Saint, sending your thoughts, questions, comments now as we wind down.
On this particular topic,
Anything that's on
uh,
your mind.
well, again, my channel is all about pro family, right? So I'm about getting families together and making it so men and women can build families and get together and get along. And I think that in order for that to happen, women need to be less masculine and more into their feminine energy. And a lot of times they don't know how. So that's why I like to teach. I like to teach and I like to help because it's necessary. But also, I think, like we were saying, when it comes to like give them grace sometimes. Like I think a lot of times what I see happening is men, they don't tell women, right? They just ghost them. So the women they don't no really. So the women, they don't know why. And then when I tell them why, they may not believe me because they're like, well, no man has ever told me that. I'm like, I'm telling you, they
Huh.
didn't care enough to tell you. Like, I'm trying to tell you. So it's like sometimes it would be helpful if you guys would be like, hey, I'm never gonna talk to her again, but real quick, I'm just gonna let you
Oh,
know
hell no. Oh, hell.
and this is why. Even if you got a text, like
Nah,
just
I
so
ain't saying a damn thing. I'm dipping. I ain't about to tell her like, look, shorty, your stretch mark was. No, I ain't. No, look, I ain't about to say like when I is that you? No, I'm not about to. No, Why are you trying to get people a tire slash right now? Why are
I'm
you trying to
not.
do that?
I feel like what happens is the men don't tell them and they're clueless and they're
You
going through
damn
these
right.
cycles of men and they never know why. And then when a woman tells them, they're like, that can't be true. Man has never told me that. I'm like, sis, why would he tell you? He doesn't want to hurt your feelings. He doesn't want to deal with the backlash. I'm telling you.
Right.
So, yeah, I just wish men did that.
This is his second super chat, so we can
Okay.
acknowledge
Shout out
it.
to P. Crawley. He writes, "Don't be like Lestiny, sticking it anywhere." That's a really good point because that is really a low thing to. And I saw the terminology is put your D in a demon. That is really a low thing. That's a good thing. I appreciate that. That's good advice.
Omari said, tuition, peace to the saints.
Shout out to Omari. Yeah, see, the thing that challenges me is number one, I generally try to never give unsolicited advice. If someone doesn't ask me for my opinion, I'm not about to volunteer it. One,
I
because it's very valuable and I get paid to give expert opinion. And number two, very rarely do the people who need the advice the most appreciate getting it. The ones who need it the most are the ones who generally can't handle it. So I tend to just be silent. You would be a good friend to someone to give them honest feedback, but if I'm exiting a situation with a woman, it doesn't benefit me to give her advice. It would benefit her potentially, but it won't benefit me at all. So the upside is non-existent, but the downside is significant, right? Like, so if I told Shorty this, I said, if I told Shorty, like, look, every time I smash you, like, you seem to like never take a shower after that. Like, that makes me uncomfortable. Like, how long are you gonna wait to take a shower? Like, I don't have a timer going, but like, damn, like within what range are you gonna take a shower? If I told her that, you know, there's no upside for me, but it damn sure might piss her off. Now she messes around spreading rumors about me. She
yeah.
might even try to like create an allegation. There's just so many things that a man exposes himself to by giving the truth to someone who can't handle it.
So okay, so you guys think it's not worth it. I understand. And I don't know if you remember that song by Tupac when he was like, Brenda's got a baby. You probably
Yeah.
remember because that's how. But when he came out with that song, um, he was saying the lyrics were, "That's not our problem. That's up to Brenda's family," right? And I think that's where we are now, where everybody's like, "Oh, it's not our problem. It's not our problem." And yeah, I'm not. I don't have an OnlyFans. I'm not a prostitute, but I still do care about my sisters who do. And it's like, yeah, I'm not their family, but we're tribal by nature. And I say this all the time. We are tribal by nature. We're tribal by nature. So I care about her. You know what I mean? And I don't have to, but I do. And I wish our brothers had that tribal nature like they used to, where they care about other women, even if it's not their family or their friends. But it's like, hey, I do care, and and I want to help you because obviously your village, your tribe didn't teach you, and that's why you're walking around here so lost, and you're an adult with a child mentality. And I mean, obviously nobody cared, and now you're 25, now you're 35, and you still don't. Even some of them are 45, and it's like you still don't
Oh
know what
Lord,
you're doing.
no.
So it's like let me help because I care, even if it's just giving truth, and that's what I do. It's like because nobody,
That's what I
your
do.
mommy and daddy didn't do it, so it's like
Yeah.
let me tell you, and mind you, I have gotten the backlash. I
I
have
bet.
gotten the backlash, and even from friends. But but then a week they'll hang up on me, but then a week later they'll
Ah,
call and they'll say, "You were right. You were right." And hey, I do it for the
I'm gonna
love.
have to slide them your way, you heard me? Because if they ain't with an assassin, I can't mess with it. You dig?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna slide them your way. And I think that there's some relevance to that, people who are within your culture taking care of them. I mean, there are definitely a number of the lady saints who are married to or engaged with or girlfriends of one of the saints, and they'll reach out to me, hey Marquette, this is the situation, what do you think? Or he did this, or I did this, what's the right move? And I'll give counsel as number one, the counsel was sought. So certainly I look at them as within my culture, I'll take care of them. But as we often remind that all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
That's a
And
fact.
I just remember just heinous things I've seen people do. There was one time I was in high school and I remember just being perplexed to see a young lady do this. I just never thought I would see something like this happen, especially from a black woman. And there was two girls, and ironically one was very fair, had a rack on her too. It was crazy. She was very fair, had a rack on her, but she was pregnant. And then the other girl, fat black girl, she looked like what you're imagining her to look like. Sharkeisha, no. And the fair one was pregnant, and she was
Mm,
clearly pregnant. Like 5 months pregnant. And so I
mm,
guess the dark skinned one had an issue with her and beat the brakes off this girl. And the worst part about it was, number one, the girl got beat up while she was pregnant. Her titty ended up coming out, which of course everybody celebrated. All the guys celebrated because with this back in the day when you couldn't just see titties every day. Um, but all the guys celebrating. It's a hood fight, and no one broke it up just because, from a cultural perspective in LA, if they not in your gang, that's not your people. Like, you don't just hop up in that fight like that. And I was thinking, aside from the fact that no one broke it up, but just the fact that a female would beat up another female while she's pregnant. I was like, that's evil. And I
Mhm.
knew right then, I said, this woman could be as black as she want to be. She could be as African American as she want to be. Her name could be Burton. Hell, her whole name could be Marquettdavon Burton. I was like, but she ain't one of me. There's just no way in hell. I was like, that is a devil. Like, that is a monster. That is a devil right there. I was like,
Yeah,
I ain't nothing like that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so I say that to say I can't mess with it, assassin or nothing, but I feel you, and you have a beautiful heart, and that's what we expect of the woman. You know, we expect the woman to have a beautiful heart, and we don't expect the woman to be a reflection of the man. And that's why they balance. Whereas, you know, I might just leave somebody laying in the gutter. You might convince me to stop one time and help them. I hope not, but you might be able to.
Black Knight said, "Peace to the saints. Can't understand how these 120-pound dudes end up with these 400-pound women."
I know, huh? It is. I've seen it too. They be with the fat white girls too, though. You know, they be with the fat white girls too. It's crazy.
He says
yeah.
women. He doesn't say
Yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They be the fat black girls, the fat white girls. Ugh. Shout out to Black Knight here. Oh, you just read that one. Okay, cool, great. You caught up?
Yep.
Fantastic.
And I want to say
Balancing codes. Oh, go ahead.
this, like, again, I like helping women with the women who need it based off of their mindset. So it's not really about color with me because I've
Mhm.
spoken to all types of women. So, it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm only gonna help black women. No, it's like
Yeah, right, right.
women that need it, regardless, it has nothing to do with this because both, all of my sisters
What's
is
this
not
mean? What's this
color.
mean?
All of my sisters is
Okay,
not based
I was like,
not
what
based
is
off
this? A
their color.
subliminal?
It's
Okay.
not based off their color. It's based off mentality. Like
Mhm.
my friends and I connect not because of our color. We connect because of our mentality, our character, our integrity, our life goals, like our purpose. That's how we connect. So it's not about color. But yeah, we help who we can, and that's why we're here. So I hope that we continue to use our platforms for those reasons, because to spread that love.
Absolutely. And I want to let everyone know we have two links in the description. Should be straight at the top. Link number one is on YouTube / at balancing codes. And then the second one is Instagram at balancing codes. Is that right?
That's right.
All right. And you can click that in the description, especially if you're a lady. Check it out. She has coaching services. And you know what? I really respect the information you've given. I think it's very important that a woman who's off track can learn from a woman who's on track, and it's good for modeling. You know, she gets to model what you've been able to do in terms of mentality and mindset. So I appreciate you providing that opportunity.
Thank you. And I do have a question before we go for you.
I ain't answering no question. Go ahead.
Really?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, what are your thoughts when it does come to family and marriage and building that foundation? I don't believe you have any children, but what are your thoughts on that
You know
personally?
what? Maury called me yesterday. I just found out I got 8 kids. They all different races too. It's crazy. This is crazy out here. Um, so my thoughts are that I personally want a very large family. I don't think that everyone should have children. And for those who do, I don't think they should necessarily have a lot of kids. But I would like to have a lot of kids just because I have to start pretty much from scratch. So that's number one. I think that should be done within the context of marriage. And number three, I think that, family and marriage should be, it's business. Not to say that it's not love and romance based. And I'm not one of those imbeciles who like think of it like, yeah, this is a business transaction. It's like, no, but what I mean by business is that it should operate with efficiency. There should be rules and guidelines, and it should lead to profit. The profit are your children. The profit is your lineage. The profit is the wealth. The profit is also the example that you set for the world. And a part of having a large family is you get to send your children out as examples of the way you believe and the way you live. And that takes time, and it also takes women who are very rational. So for me, I would have 2 wives at minimum. I would be blessed to have that. Having 1 wife, that just does not seem like what I was meant to have in my life, and that's because I want a large family. And, 2 working adult females is gonna allow me to do so much more. Just like if you have a corporation, if you have more employees, you can get more done. Um, and just side note for those who will be watching, like this man's a sex pervert. He wants 2 women. I was like, no, I'm actually not at all like a sex driven person, but that seems like what's appropriate for me. And one thing I will never do is, yield what is natural and appropriate for me and how my ancestors live to
I
live
agree.
like, some other people. My
Mhm.
ancestors, you heard me, was living like bosses. So we're gonna carry on with that.
I love
That
that.
answer your
What's a lot?
question?
What's a lot
What's a
of
lot of what?
children?
As many as I can get.
20, 30, 40, 50,
If I
100?
could get 1,000, give me 1,000. I said as many as I can get. Yeah. And certain a female might not be productive or she might be productive. It doesn't matter to me because truth be told, all of the children will be treated respectfully at an equal level. But I'm gonna try to make once I get going, I'm trying to make as many as I ain't stopping. You heard me? I ain't stopping. It's raw every time. You heard me? I'm shooting the club up.
I respect it. I respect it. Okay.
How about you?
When it comes to family,
Yeah, yeah. The question you asked me.
you know what? It's funny because I agree because I think legacy is everything. Legacy is your wealth. It's so important. Children are your wealth. That's my belief system. So I think it's an imperative to procreate, and I think we need to have more children. Why are we not having more children? So I actually agree with that 1,000%.
Well, I think the Saints need to have more child. I hope everybody else stop having children. I hope the
Yeah,
Saints
that's
keep
what
having
I'm saying.
children. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Exactly. Certain people should have more. Certain people should stop altogether.
In a real way. Shout out to Maurice. He writes Genghis Quet. That's exactly the model I'm going for. He understands it perfectly. Exactly.
I like
There we
that.
go.
I like that. Thanks for having me. This has been so fun. You're real chill.
Well, good. I appreciate that. I'm glad you had a good time. It's always nice when we can give an example of how male and female should get along and also be able to contribute. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Peace, guys.
All right. Peace to the Saints.